Hi, this is Joe McGonigal and Kevin McGonigal from DDS Match. We've done some videos in the past, and always looking for a slightly different format to keep things entertaining and educational. So new series here is Around the Block, or Around the Corner.
This was my idea, to try to limit some of the chatter, some of the talking points, or just try to cut down a little bit and keep it concise.
Yeah, keep these short, 2 to 3 minutes, a little bit of information for you. So anyway, we have a topic today. And one of the things, Kev, that you've run into lately, and I think we all run into, is we start working with a client, and one of the things we try to do early is determine, are you ready for a transition, right? So we have that initial meeting, and doctor calls and says, I'm ready. And one of the things that I think we think about is, how do you know you're ready? What makes you ready? So I think we probably have boiled this down to 2 categories. Why don't you take the first one?
The first one is financial readiness. That you can look at both ways. Number one is the practice financially ready. And we can kind of determine that through some analysis of reports, financials, a formal business valuation, and then your own personal financial readiness. Once we kind of come up with an estimated value of the practice, and we talk about your proceeds of a transaction, we'll ask some questions about, what's next, and is that going to satisfy the goals that you have for yourself, your family, and life after dentistry.
And I think there's probably 3 people to really talk with about that. Obviously, your CPA, your financial advisor, and your spouse, right? Yeah. So sometimes, we've had situations where the CPA says you can retire, and the financial advisor says you can retire, but the spouse says it's not time. We don't have enough, and that's fair. I mean, that's how this goes. So I think it's important to make sure you're also consulting with your other advisors on the financial side.
So let's assume that you are financially ready. You've got the practice in ship shape. Everything looks good. It comes in at a number that you want it to be at. What's the other side of the coin?
The other side is so much more difficult. It's just that it's so less tangible, and that's really, are you emotionally ready, right? And I have a client that's going through this right now. We just met with this week, actually, and 100% financially ready. I mean, the practice, retirement's fully funded. Everything that's being earned from the practice, and even what would come from the proceeds of the sale, is all gravy, which is a great position to be in. But this dentist said to me, I don't know what's on the other side of that door, pointing to the outside door of the practice. I've spent 45 years on this side of the door. I don't know what's on the other side. I don't play a ton of golf. I'm not moving to Florida, and I'm nervous what happens when I walk out that door. Yeah. And that's a lot harder to, we can ask you some questions to help try to determine, are you emotionally ready? But that's such a personal thing.
Sometimes you don't know you're ready until an offer hits your desk.
Right. And that's an offer, or I think the other thing that I talked to this client about was, sometimes when you meet the ideal buyer, when you meet the young dentist or whoever it's going to be, and you can envision that person being the owner of your practice, and more importantly, the caretaker of your legacy. Yeah. I think sometimes people feel emotionally like, okay, I now feel like this part of my life is in good hands, and whoever, this buyer is going to be a good steward of what's been built.
And again, what you're describing right there is somebody who has given themselves enough time to have those options available, both in candidates, in the timing. So again, just speaks to the importance of having a transition plan, and one that you kind of understand the steps that are involved and what you would need to do to kind of execute that plan when the time is right.
Yeah. So the last piece, as we're kind of pulling up to the driveway here, is even if you're not emotionally ready, that doesn't mean you shouldn't start the process to determine other factors that will play out in it. Like, what is the practice worth? And start to get a conversation going, because there's nothing worse than finding out that you're emotionally ready, but nothing else is really organized or ready. And, you know, it could potentially extend your timeline beyond really how long you want to be in the practice.
That can make it tough to continue showing up and, you know, keeping the practice at the financial, both of those things play together. If your head and your heart aren't into it, there's a chance that the practice could suffer and sort of have an impact on the financial readiness, as well. So, just to kind of wrap it up, 2 main components: financial and emotional readiness. We think they're key ingredients in your transition plan, and 2 things that we, along with a lot of the great partners that we work with, can help you explore and kind of get you some answers.
All right, well, Kev, we're officially lost now on our trip around the block, so let's wrap this one up. But if you have questions, reach out, and we'll be back with another installment shortly.
I think we're getting pulled over. All right, see you later.